Kelvin Davis.
Tēnā koe, kānui ngā mihi atu ki a tātou katoa e whakahuati ana I tō tātou reo rangatira kei roti te whare. Mr. Speaker, there's a joke going around about the reason why Sam Lotuinga is called the Minister of Corrections, and that is because he is having to correct mistake after mistake after mistake. And it shows a man who is a very limited time as a minister, because he's no longer taken seriously and is instead becoming the butt of jokes. Why on earth would anybody want to privatise anything? We've got Minister Tolley here today, not even able to say that they won't engage Serco in any more contracts. Keep Serco away from our kids. That's the message I have. They cannot be allowed to go anywhere near our children. They've made such a stuff up in the prisons. Contraband in Mount Eden is so easy to come by, Mr. Speaker. Drugs. I mean, nobody would really be surprised if a little bit of cannabis was found in a prison, but we don't have a little bit of cannabis being found in Mount Eden Correctional Facility. We have a full-scale meth ring being organised out of Mount Eden Correctional Facility. Tobacco, Mr. Speaker, I'm told a 50-gram pouch of tobacco is worth $800 on the outside. A packet of cigarettes, $1,000. Weapons come in, brought in with barely any check, and I believe in terms of cell phones, there's so many cell phones in Mount Eden Correctional Facility that the inmates are considering setting up their own call centre. And I believe the dysfunction in Serco is so great that the inmates are considering contracting Serco to run their call centre, but then they've got more brains than that, because they know that anything that Serco touches is doomed to failure, and they wouldn't bother with that. Mr. Speaker, I believe that you can get anything in Mount Eden Correctional Facility at the right price, and I believe for the right price we can even get some of the hidden text of the TPPA from inmates in Serco. The fight clubs. We've all seen the videos of the fight clubs. How that was able to go on under the national government's noses for so long. We had Minister Tolley saying, oh, we've known about fight clubs for yonks. Well, if they'd known about it for yonks, why didn't they do something about it? They were able to hide a riot last year, in May of last year, Mr. Speaker. They downgraded the language so that it was called a prop. Well, I've only heard of props when you're talking about rugby players. They've downgraded a riot where the crisis response team from Pāremoremo had to come in and quell things down, where prisoners barricaded themselves in cells, but this was not a riot, this was a prop. Then there's the issue of people being thrown off balconies. We heard the Minister say today in the House that he only heard of a report about the incident involving Alex Littleton in the last week. Well, Alex Littleton was thrown off that balcony on February the 2nd of this year. But let me tell you a bit about what happened. And Ray Smith preempted the report that's going to come out. He said there's so much attention being paid to this case that he better preempt it. And in his press release, he said that Alex Littleton was chased by one other inmate and he fell. And he fell over a balcony. Well, I ask anybody, how on earth do you fall up and over a balcony? It seems like the law of Serco is greater than the law of gravity. Alex Littleton hit the ground with two broken legs, dragged himself in front of a guardhouse, a glass guardhouse, where the inmates who had thrown him over, 4 inmates, not one inmate, 4 inmates came down and started kicking him and bashing him, and the guards only intervened when he was getting his head stomped on. Mr. Speaker, the ratio of guards to prisoners should be about 1 to 15. Instead, in Serco, it's about 1 to 50. If we want to know why it is that people can bring in contraband and why all these things can go on in the prison, it's because Serco is cutting costs because they want to give their stakeholders a profit. They're cutting costs on the staff, and that in turn is endangering not only other staff, but is also endangering the inmates there. Mr. Speaker, if that's if we don't address this prison violence, it's going to spill out into the community and we're going to see more community violence. Kia ora.